And we are live. So today, thank you for coming and watching an Addict Spotlight. I completely just got tempted. Welcome to the Addict Spotlight, the show where we're discussing games in detail. Today's discussion is Destiny 2, the sequel to the successful 2014 game developed by Bungie. Today, I'm joined by a returning guest, Lord Cognito. He is a host of the Iron Lords podcast. He's a passionate Destiny fan, loyal Warlock player. I had to put the Warlock thing in there, Cognito. I had to. As well as a year one Guardian. What's going on, Lord Cognito?
Just happy to be here, and for the spotlight, and obviously our special guest, and it's a great time to be a Destiny player right now. It's just the excitement is so hype right now, and fever pitch, and just after the reveal and seeing everything. So I am extremely hyped. I'm playing a lot of Destiny and raids in preparation for this new adventure for part 2. I'm hyped, and yes, the Warlock is superior. Don't blade.
If you think that, man. If you think that. My second guest is a longtime friend. Been friends with this person for a while. Was hoping to get her on sooner, but schedule conflicts, and I figured she's one of the prime people I'd like to have in a podcast talking about Destiny 2. She's a loyal, well-known fan on Twitter, and she also streams on Twitch. Occasionally. I don't think you do that a whole lot.
I saw it on the stream.
And is the only one in this panel to actually see the game hands-on, which I'm a little jealous over that, but I'll get my time at E3, so that's fine.
It's well worth the wait. I'll let you know that much.
So anything new, nice. Amber?
No, life's been crazy. I'm really sad I didn't get to be on earlier, but like you said, scheduling conflicts never really worked out, but I'm here now. We get to talk Destiny 2, which is awesome. So
yeah, it's
totally worth the wait.
Oh, I hope so. Especially, well, we'll get into that later. That's a topic. I almost completely destroyed my topics, but so we're gonna go ahead and get straight into this podcast. Definitely, we got a lot to tackle. Try not to make the podcast too long. So first topic is. So the biggest question here we have is the most important aspect of Destiny 2. The question everyone wants to know is, what class are you in Destiny 2?
Ooh. I am a loyal hunter, but I'm not going to lie to you. I had a lot of playtime on the Warlock with Dawnblade, and it is amazing. So I'm definitely switching back to my roots, which is a Warlock main. Definitely.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Warlocks will be very happy with the new subclass.
Very happy with that decision.
I felt a certain way when that sword popped out, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like you can ask.
Let us quote Lord Addict. Let us quote. I'm running with a Warlock because he has a sword this year.
But when I saw the shield, I knew that was happening. I saw. At first I thought the blade, the new blade dancer, the one with the pole. I thought that was just the blade dancer because you can't see the pole very clearly. Mm-hmm. And then when I saw him pop up and pop out that sword, it's like a part of me. It was like I was so mesmerized by that fire sword, man. I was like, I need it because you can ask Lord Cognito. I'm a very huge sword user. Yeah, like I use the sword all the time.
You're actually one of the best sword runners. Like when we do a raid, and I have confidence because I'm like, oh, Addict's got his sword. We're good. Like I know he's gonna clear out a lot of sections, especially Raptor Machine and stuff like that, and Crota. Definitely a huge fan of his sword play.
But I think I'm gonna have to roll on. I got that loyal Titan blood in me, man. I gotta stick with the Titan. So I gotta get. I got
Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America. It's what's hot. Marvel is selling everywhere. It's what's hot right now. Mm-hmm. So, what do you guys, in terms of, do you guys want the old subclasses back, or are you good with the subclasses that they have now? Because I did think they did say that the subclasses will come back later on in the story, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember for sure, but basically what it is so like, it's not been confirmed, but what we were kind of theorizing at the event was, for example, Warlocks had gotten Dawnblade instead of, Sunsinger. So we were thinking that, you were still going to get, like Void back, but it probably wouldn't be till later in the story. and like it would be the same for every other class, but I don't know if we're still gonna get the Taken King subclasses. That's kind of up in the air, but we did see those supers being used. We did see someone using a
golden
Nova
gun.
Bomb. So, and a golden gun, exactly. So we have reason to believe that they are there. We just don't know anything about the Taken King subclasses yet. So that's kind of
I think
up in air as far as I know.
Gotcha.
Anyways.
And it looks like they will come back and they're reamped too. They don't function the same way they did their year one counterpart.
Now, Amber, can I ask you a question? Which ones did you see? As far as the original, or maybe pre-existing subclasses?
The pre-existing, I saw Striker and I saw Gunslinger.
Nice.
So I saw the revamped ones, yeah.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just like, I love the fact as a warlock, like I said, the Sunsinger class, I had this discussion with Demon before, it was one of those things that it was kind of like a crutch for a lot of warlock players, because you kind of knew you had that res in the bag. But I love the fact that it's like an offensive subclass, from that standpoint. And I love the fact that, besides that, to me, one of the key things is like the new ability with the subclass. So like the empowering rift, and the healing rift. So it's almost like having like a Titan weapons of light, and then you got you can heal. So you really, for the first time, I feel like as a warlock, I can actually be a support player.
Yep.
And I think that's cool. So like, did you get a chance to play a lot of Dawnblade?
Dawnblade was actually, I didn't actually play as a gunslinger or as the striker. I was watching friends play it. I played nothing but Dawnblade, which is why I'm so excited about it, because I really had a lot of fun. Like in PvE, like the healing rift was incredible. The empowering rift was incredible. I was kind of playing around with, like different, like obviously like gun loadouts and stuff like that, but also changing my subclass around to kind of get a feel for things. And it was definitely like really awesome to have that healing rift, because you definitely felt like you were more help to your team. Because unless like in Destiny right now, like if you're playing a warlock, like you can play a self res and that's great for you, but it's not really a whole lot of help to your team.
Amen.
And I mean, I guess it is in the sense that like you can like revive yourself and make it easier for them, but with the rifts, like it's just definitely much easier for you to be a part of your team and help them. And it was really cool. And even in PvP, like a lot of people, I was kind of unsure about the whole healing rift in PvP, but it's honestly not like, it's not as overpowered as you would think it would be, because you still have to take the time to place that, and you have to be in it in order for it to work, right? So you're kind of you're like a sitting duck basically. So you have to be very smart with it. But it's definitely a really cool third ability, and I'm really glad that they added it. And the fact that, and sure, as you both probably know, a lot of people crutch on firebolts and stickies and just pretty much all that stuff. And that stuff doesn't one hit anymore, which is amazing.
That's huge. That is so huge.
So you can prime people with them, right? But you still have to, you have to finish that fight. It's not just going to win for you. And I don't know if I'm crazy, but they also didn't feel as sticky. Like they didn't curve to like find people, like, and it definitely felt like aim assist was turned down as well. So I don't know if that's true. Maybe that was just me, but I definitely felt something different there. So
So in terms of the the new classes, that the ones that you saw, how every subclass in Destiny at this point, for the most part, besides the Fist of Havoc, they have like some kind of sound notification that they've been activated in your facility. Did these new ones have it? Did you hear like the clunk that the hammer has, or the golden gun makes that loud noise? Did you hear anything like that, or is it just like you come around a corner and you just see a warlock with a sword and you're just like, well, I'm dead?
No, there's definitely a sound you can hear. It's pretty much the same like as before. I'm pretty sure the golden gun one is the exact same. I think the only thing different with the golden gun, other than the fact it has 6 shots and it kind of goes by faster. And I could be wrong on this because, like I said, I didn't actually play the golden gun. I only played the Dawnblade. But
good choice, by the way.
Thank you, thank you. I knew too. I was like, man, I'm probably gonna want to go back to Warlock, and I was right. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, no, there's definitely like a sound notification, and the only thing that's different is like the animation of going into the golden gun and when you shoot it. So it's kind of like a last word animation, which is cool. So
Nice.
yeah.
That's
cool.
That's definitely interesting. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. So when it comes to, you know, what has been revealed, what the gameplay as of right now, what's been revealed, you know, from the initial trailer to, you know, Cade in the bar to, you know, the rally up the soldiers to this gameplay now, would you guys say they did a good job hyping this brand up for the second installment?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Without a doubt in my mind. Like, you know, people were excited because people have been on the mindset of like, we need a new game. Like, we've had Destiny 1 for 3 years now. Like, it is time for something new. And they've done it right. They've, you know, there's been pictures leaked here and there, and like, I don't know if you guys remember seeing these photos, but it actually showed the I'm gonna forget the names of the new subclasses other than the
Dawnblade,
Arcstrider, and the what's the Titan one? It's
man, I don't even know.
Sentinel.
Sentinel, that's it.
Sentinel?
Yeah. So there was images released months and months ago, and it was like these fiery images that actually depict the new subclasses, and everyone was like, I don't know if those are real. And then they showed them at, you know, the reveal event, and we were like, oh shit. And everyone was so excited because they were like, if this is real, like this would be amazing. And it was. So they hyped it up in that sense, and there was little tidbits here and there. And, you know, when they first released the trailer for, you know, like Destiny 2, like people went crazy. Like my timeline blew up. Like I've never seen it as alive as it was those days that, you know, like new information had come out.
I feel like them blowing up the aspects of other characters has really helped grow the Destiny brand. Like, I think Cade was one of the key reasons that Taken King was so well received.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep. Cade is definitely a fan favorite. Even people who don't like hunters, which, by the way, y'all crazy, people love Cade. They love his cocky, like sarcastic, like very I don't know, almost arrogant personality. Like he's just fun. You know what I mean? So I think people really like that.
I will,
and I don't blame them.
I will say that I will bring up, he did kind of make stupid. When I saw him in that opening cutscene where he tried to use a golden gun to flying ships, I was like, "What are you doing, Cade?" Like, I didn't understand.
But you got to respect the arrogance of him, even in terms of.
Well, if it wasn't for that warlock, he'd be dead right now.
Yeah.
So, you know, I definitely think that, you know, they did a really good job. You know, a lot of the times they build up games wrong, not necessarily Bungie or Activision, but I felt like they dropped that teaser trailer that was like, it was like a minute long with Cade talking in the bar, and then they're like, it was like 3 days later, the rally for the troops came out, wasn't it? 3 or 4 days later? And then they dropped that, and that's when it really hit the peak because they did a really good job. And it's like me and Lord Cognito said in the past, you know, they kind of had Zavala talk to the Guardians as in like a Destiny focus, like he's talking to the actual people there that he's supposed to be rallying up to fight the Cabal. And then Cade is talking to us as the Guardians because, you know, it was definitely, especially at the end where, you know, Zavala is doing a really good job and everyone's screaming. And then he's like, and he does the same thing and everyone's just like crickets. He's like, and there'll be lots of loot. And it's like, you wouldn't say that to people there. You would say that to us as the players playing the game.
Exactly.
And I enjoyed that kind of foreshadowing they did.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely, I think you know that because it's like Cade speaks to the player, you know, and Zavala is, you know, it's getting into this exposition and it's all dramatic, and you know, and this guy's talking about, our enemy is Gary, and like Cade is hilarious. I mean, how can you not love Cade? So it's just
Cade
like to see
one
those
of the most characteristic characters in gaming history. I'm sorry.
Oh, absolutely.
No,
and I must
have been my favorite of all time. Like,
I
know this is my favorite game, but honestly, like, even just like, obviously, they write his character, but Nathan Fillion like really brings him to life and makes him who he is. And he is definitely by far one of my favorite characters of all time, from anything from a movie to a TV show to a video game, like hands down. Like he's awesome.
He is. He really is. And I have a confession. I mean, when the Taken King released, and like I said, we saw the story and they started to give, characters like Cade more exposition and put him to the forefront. That made me want to play the Hunter class. That was what did it. That's what made me act. Because prior to that, I Warlock mained exclusively. I didn't even touch the other classes. And it's not until Taken King is when I actually, dusted off the Hunter and dusted off the Sunbreaker classes and really got going with those. But yeah, he does. Nathan Fillion does an amazing job, and so far, even his role with the original Destiny 2 trailer was just so funny and just really got you into it. And they needed to do that because one of the major knocks against Destiny was always vanilla Destiny was always the story, and to see characters like Zavala. I mean, Zavala had me in my feels. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree.
What it means to be a guardian got me emotional. I was like, that is amazing. And Lance Reddick is one of my favorites. So, from Wire Days and other things, shows he's been in. So he really did a good job of just nailing that and just showing that whole progression of the character. It really made me hype.
And Zavala, what I liked about, the intro, that was the best case scenario they could have possibly. This ain't a topic, but, go over it real briefly. Do you think since they're really focusing a whole lot on Zavala, because I feel like they are, like, he got his own little, intro of how he become who he is today. And what's funny about that whole scenario as it is like throughout that whole, like it was probably like 40, 50 seconds long. It's like kind of how every Guardian every person that plays Destiny goes through. You get your ass beat throughout like the first part of your experience, and then little by little you get better and you get better, because at the beginning of that clip he got murked by Fallen, and then he woke up and took the staff to Fallen left, and then he got a couple more hits on another Fallen, but the Fallen clearly was victorious, and then they jump a couple years to where he's doing a lot of stuff with the the last city, and then it just shows him bodying everyone.
Yeah, it was symbolic. It's definitely symbolic of the play and your experience. I would totally agree with that.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. So obviously, up until now, we haven't known a whole lot about the Cabal. They've kind of kept them in the back burner. Even know that the Destiny community was thriving for this kind of backstory on the Cabal. How do you guys feel that they centered the main story of Destiny 2 around the Cabal?
Can I grab this?
Yeah, no, please.
Oh, Game Medic knows I am such a Cabal lover. Like, I always wanted that Mars raid. That remember when the rumors were speculating and we're back, vanilla, that we might get that. And I just felt it was the only race that wasn't fleshed out. And we had two, Hive expansions. The Vex got their shine with the Vault of Glass and stuff. So I always wanted to know, more about the Cabal hierarchy, especially with the Taken King quest, because they initially made that assault on Oryx, right? So they crashed into the Dreadnought, and when you do the Shield Brothers quest, you learn a little bit more. And it was just one of those things where I was just like, I can't wait to see what their whole hierarchy is. And now that we have like a name behind it and this Dominus Gaul, and I'm so hyped. And I like his motivations, actually, where he feels that he should be chosen, that the Traveler made a mistake. So that adds a little twist. And it's like, yeah, go ahead.
I thought it was kind of like, ridiculous how, he went about that. He's like, what? The Traveler was wrong. We should be, I guess in a way I can understand that, the Traveler chose humankind to give its gifts upon. And, the Cabal come there in that battle with how they are naturally built, how they're naturally raised and everything. And I'm like, if you really want to show the Traveler that, you got this thing, it's like, don't do a lame move, like block off the Traveler so his light doesn't go to the Guardians. It's like, if you want to wreck the Guardians with their subclasses and all their abilities, then maybe you should take that traveler with you.
Yeah, I mean, it was just well done. I'm very excited about Gaul, the potential of the character. I mean, just the whole taking of our light, and it's just going to be really a fun ride. And then obviously culminating in the raid to see how that's going to play out. That's going to be really great. So I'm so excited that the Cabal finally gets their chance to shine.
I'm still like that, man. When I think of a Cabal raid, I just think of a big Cabal with a shield, and I hate that. and then I even started thinking a little bit more like, what happens if he has like a double-sided shield that he just holds with both his heads? And I'm like, because I hate the Cabal. Every time I see a Cabal, a vein pops in my head because it's like they're so inconvenient, especially Prison of Elders, and then you get to the Taken King where they purposely put the first Cabal Taken on a ledge to where when you walk up to him and you think, oh, it's just the Cabal, and he blasts you off the ledge.
Oh yeah, that was.
I will never forget. That was like the biggest troll of all time. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
That's probably honestly still one of my favorite parts, though. Was just getting booped off the ledge and just being like, "Are you serious right now?" Like, thanks, Bungie.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that Bungie has going good for them is they do know how to troll, and they do know how to make the game interesting.
They do,
but
absolutely.
If everyone's pretty good on that, I think we'll go ahead and move along.
Yeah.
Basically, this one's mainly going to go towards Amber because she was there at the event. When it comes to like UI, I saw that they changed certain aspects of it, like the UI of the subclasses. They look completely different, like nothing compared to what they did. It's like little branches and trees. Then the bubbles that you highlight.
Yep.
To your knowledge, when you was playing that, did you see any more UI interfaces change than that one?
No, not from like what I can remember. Everything else pretty much looked the same. Obviously, the director looked different. Let me just think off the top of my head. When you're playing PvP and stuff like that, like you can see the enemy subclasses, your team subclasses. It'll show you when someone has super, if it's being used, if it's gone, like things like that, like which make it a lot easier. They've changed the way that radar works as well, so you have a shorter distance on the radar, which is really good for PvP players because a lot of people are like kind of on the fence of should there be radar, should there be no radar, but I was looking at my feed yesterday and I saw a couple of the guys who work with the Crucible, and they were saying like, we tested it with and without, and if don't quote me on this, I could be wrong, but they were saying that they tried it without and it actually didn't work in the way that they thought it would, so they decided to keep it and shorten the they shortened the radius on it, which was good because I like that. I feel like that's an easy game that needs the radar. That's just me. But yeah, and then they changed the way that the HUD in the bottom left looks as well, with the new abilities and stuff like that. It's not a crazy change, but it's definitely a noticeable one. But other than that, it looked pretty similar.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people were really latching on to too, is they were saying, oh, this game looks just like Destiny. It's like, I would see that people that, just casually looked over Destiny gameplay, a trailer when it popped out on YouTube, but people that actually play the game, like the moment that game started, I could tell the difference. And it's like, when Zavala put up his bubble, you see the bubble starting to crumble to the damage it's taking. And it's like, you didn't see that in the last one. It's like, it was particle effects and you didn't see that in Destiny 1.
Exactly. That was one of the first things I noticed as well. And, they've put a lot more detail into, what they're doing. Obviously, when they made Destiny 1, they had to incorporate last gen as well. So they were really limited on what they could do. They're still limited on what they can do now, which is the whole, frame rate thing, which I won't get into because that's a huge debate on its own. But they've definitely put a lot more effort into particle effects and like little things like that from what I've seen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Can I ask you a question, Emma, now about the Crucible? Because I know you guys got the chance to touch. Like, one of my main concerns coming in was the whole aspects of, let's be honest, like 6 is a remove now, right? Because it's 4v4
across all modes, and eventually this will even include trials when we get to see it. So my question is, like, how did it feel to you when you were in fours now? Like, was it an adjustment period? Did it feel off? Did it feel more balanced? Like, how did 4 versus 4 feel?
I'm going to be completely honest. So we obviously only played the new mode, which was Countdown.
Yes.
But it honestly felt really good. Like I kind of wasn't sure how it would feel. Obviously, it may feel different, if they bring Control back, which honestly, Control probably wouldn't even be that bad. Because if you look at the competitive scene, they've been playing 4s. They've been playing 3s and 4s, and a lot of people seem to prefer 4s. And it felt a lot less chaotic in my opinion, and it felt right. The size of the map was perfect for it. The game mode especially was perfect for it. Yeah, no, I really enjoy 4s. I'm not sure how Trials will feel as 4v4.
I know, but it's kind of weird with an extra person, right? I don't know.
I know, right? And like my thing is like I like Trials. I just don't do enough because I don't have enough people to play with me, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to find 3 other people now. Oh boy. But yeah, no, 4s felt okay. 4s didn't feel bad. It didn't feel unbalanced. It actually probably felt more balanced than 6s did. So.
And then you got to think when you play these, these 6v6s in Destiny, you had a lot of super killing. You would walk up, but when you play 4v4, that's 4 supers that's just gone off the map, and that does make a significant change for the overall match of itself.
Exactly, and the fact now too is a lot of things have changed in the Crucible. Like I touched on earlier, grenades don't one hit anymore, which is fantastic. So it's not going to be an ability spam.
You mean when people would just throw like 3 grenades in that facility? It's like
exactly.
They used to
just throw sticky
so
and you're dead, and it's like really.
They used to
like there was no gun skill involved, and that was really rough. Like I never really got into PvP until probably I would say the last year. And even then, like I don't claim to be like some PvP god because honestly, I'm garbage. But in comparison to a lot of people that I know, but they definitely took it and are moving it into a good place. Whereas right now, it's very much ability spam. So armor no longer has stats like intellect, strength, discipline. It's all a set cooldown for everything, which is fantastic because that means I'm pretty sure it's still the same though. Like if you're killing and getting assists and stuff, you'll get super energy quicker. But it's generally one maximum of 2 supers per game. From my experience, I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but that was what I got from when I was playing. Yeah, it's a lot less ability spam. It's a lot more gunfights. You have to actually be strategic about what you're doing. You can't just like run in and like melee spam and nade spam. Like you actually have to go in with a game plan. There's a lot more there's a lot more guns, so there's a lot more gunfights. Exactly. And I know a lot of the PvP players, like I talked to Triple and he was super excited about it, and he's very open about how much he dislikes certain things in PvP, and he's passionate about the game, so he'll more than happily talk about it. But when I asked him about it, he was so excited, and that's how I knew that I wasn't just like on the hype train, because if he was excited about it, then I was like, okay, it's definitely as good as I think it is. So
absolutely, yeah. Triple's respected, so that definitely. And I think one of the things you said too that was really cool was that I even learned too was just like that abilities like a fusion grenade and stuff like that doesn't one hit kill you, so it kind of really brings it back to the primary fights, which people really wanted, because and then the other change I believe with the snipers are now going in that power slot, which is like the old heavy slot now.
Yeah.
So and one quick question, as far as the way heavy ammo, so to speak, but what is it called, power ammo now? I don't know what it's called now. Right. So how do you kind of remember the spawn rates during the match? Like how often did you get it? And I did hear a rumor that only one person can pick up the heavy now.
That's true.
When it happens. All right, so tell me about that. I'm excited about that.
Okay, so I'm trying to like remember off the top of my head. But yeah, so basically the way that the power ammo works now is it spawns on a wall, or it spawned on a wall, and whoever picks it up is the one that gets it. I don't exactly remember the respawn rate, but it wasn't very long. Like I think I don't want to give like an exact number because I really don't remember, but it seemed to come up frequently enough, but not too much that it would be easy to spam it.
Gotcha.
I think it was like twice in the game. I don't remember. I wish I could remember. I was too busy playing, and I wish I had looked at the respawn times, but I just didn't. But no, it was at a rate that felt right. It wasn't too little and it wasn't too much that it was able to be spammed. So I think that they did that right. Especially where now, people complain about, people sniping too much, and people. It's so easy to complain about stuff like that. But I definitely feel like they did that right.
Nice.
I wish I could remember. I really do.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's hard because I know you're in the moment, you're playing. So I guess my last question in reference to that, because I know, like, for example, snipers are in that class now of power ammo. So do you think that you would see, like, in your case of you getting power ammo, like, do you remember getting it maybe once or twice a match, less than that, more than that?
I definitely, like, I can think of one time specifically where I got power ammo and I had a sniper on me and I domed this poor guy. And I could hear him. I could hear him through the headset, and he was just like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "Sorry, I'm really bad at this." Yeah, no, that's like kind of the only time I really remember it, because everything else I was trying wasn't really as cool. I thought using the sniper was really cool, even though it's something I'm used to using anyway, but just it felt really different. Like when you got a kill with it, it felt more special because you weren't able to spam it all the time. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But I only remember really getting it once, maybe twice. But like you said, like generally in that game mode, you're kind of grouped up with your teammates. So generally, unless you're spread out, you're really only going to get one person that has it.
Gotcha.
So
now, did it stay with you on death or no? Do you remember?
No, you lose it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's huge. Wow. So sniper ammo could be okay. Wow. Thank you for answering. This is really changes the meta. The meta will change.
Oh, it will.
Definitely.
It's definitely going to be a lot more skill based, and like I'm trying to remember everything I possibly can. Like it's still a whirlwind for me. Like being there was just like incredible, and I'm so jet lagged from it all still. So I'm like, what did I do again? So yeah, no, absolutely.
Being at the actual event was probably like a lot on you as it is, and then you got to put the gameplay in the mix of it, and the reveal was probably overwhelming too.
Oh, dude, I was sitting in my seat, I was shaking, I was so excited. Like it was funny because people were like tweeting at me and like messaging me on Facebook, and they were like, "Oh my god, I can see you," and I was like, "That's cool." But yeah, no, cool. It's surreal is kind of the only way that I can like explain it. But yeah, no, it was incredible. Like they did such a fantastic job of like making the venue look awesome and treating everybody as well as they did. Like if there's anything like I have to praise Bungie on, especially is the fact that like, they make a hell of a game. Like Halo, obviously, incredible. That's what got me into gaming.
Nice.
And Destiny, but they also know that they have a community that loves them and is as special as ours, and they treat us as such. You know what I mean? Like they have a really good sense of community, and they put us first a lot. Even though some people give them crap and say things like, "Oh, they don't care about the community," that is a lie. Like I can say now that I have met people from Bungie, and I can tell you straight up, like they are some of the most genuinely appreciative people of their community, and they don't take it for granted at all. They know for a fact that if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't have a game as nearly as successful as they do. Obviously they made the game, so it's an incredible game, but a community really, drives that home.
Community feedback will keep a game alive.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great point that Amber you're making, because as much as they get a lot of crap, Bungie, they do listen to feedback, and they do try to listen to what our complaints and our issues are. So
sometimes they listen a little bit too much and then have to reverse it later on.
Reddit.
Reddit be lit. But one thing I always say, it's always better with that approach, at least that I know that they're listening, that they're paying attention, as opposed to a game that you may have for a life cycle over 3 years and there's really minimal changes, you know. So I think to me that is a great from the developer standpoint, that they're willing to take criticism and willing to take feedback. And you know, that's really cool what you said, that they were treating you guys, you know, with such respect and reverence, and you know, that type of stuff really excites me. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, we're going to go ahead and move on from that. So this next topic is, you know, it's about the supers, you know, the Sentinel, the Dawn Guard, I think it was named. Dawn Blade. And I can't remember. What's the Hunter one's called? Arc Strider. So out of, you know, all of these, you know, that obviously we saw in the stream, and then you saw in person, Amber. Which super did you guys like the most, and what was most interesting?
Honestly, like, obviously, I really enjoyed Dawnblade. That was probably the funnest to me. The only way I can.
Are you gonna keep clapping every time she mentions Dawnblade?
I love it. That's a warlock. It's weird. I'm a hunter main. I actually started playing Destiny as a warlock. Back in the beta, and then I switched to hunter when I got a PlayStation. But I'm going back to my roots because Dawnblade is phenomenal. Like, the only way to describe it is think of a bolt caster with solar energy, except 50 times cooler. Like, that's the only way to describe it. Like, it is.
It looks like it has a bigger range too.
It does, and it's so much fun. Like, I could go on about Dawnblade forever. I really could. I really think you're gonna love it. Like, I think a lot of like warlock mains, even people who aren't warlock mains, you are going to love that subclass. Like, I think that's definitely the one that shines the most out of them all. Kind of sucks as a hunter main because, you know, Arc Strider's cool, but it's too similar to like Arcblade. One thing I'm kind of sad that was kind of a missed opportunity in my opinion was the pole that they give, or the staff that they give the Arc Strider. They should have made it a lightning bolt. I think that would have been cool. I think that would have been.
Don't say that. I could just see Sinister in the comments. See, someone else agrees with me. We got gypped again.
Our friend Sinister, he's a hunter main, and he wasn't like completely disgusted with the Arc Strider, but he just felt like the Dawnblade and everything else, the Sentinel looked brand new.
He was like, they gave the Guardian, they gave the Titan, OP Titan, they gave OP Titan a Captain America class, they gave the Warlocks some flaming sword class, and they gave me a pole. How does that fair?
Yeah, like a lot of people feel it's like, you know, Blade Dancer 2.0, so to speak. The hunter mains that we speak to, especially our guys Sinister. So like you were saying, like you just felt from a visual standpoint, they didn't it was kind of like it could have been a little cooler.
It could have been a little cooler, yeah.
It could have been the pole, and when you used it, it shoots lightning too.
Yeah. And like, this is the thing. A lot of people really loved Blade Dancer, so I kind of understand why they kept something similar to that, because a lot of people were very upset when obviously, you know, it was nerfed, and you know, it's pretty unviable at this point. Like, it's really bad. It's bad. And I feel like Arc Strider is going to be viable, and I think a lot of people will like it. I think it's just where it's not so much of a change. Like, it's not a big change like you get with Dawnblade and Sentinel. Like, it's very similar to what you already have. So hunters really didn't get anything crazy new.
I did notice that they be jumping around like they in the circus. They're gonna be hard to shoot, man.
Oh yeah. I'm sure they're gonna be annoying as hell in PvP. Like, we didn't get to play it when we were there. Unfortunately, I would have liked to have gotten my hands on it because I think it would have been a lot of fun to play, but you know, for whatever reason, it wasn't available for play. That's totally cool. The new Gunslinger looked like a lot of fun. The fact that you got 6 shots. A lot of people were like, that sounds overpowered, but you really don't get a lot of time to shoot them, so you really could only get like maybe 3 off unless it's PvE. So that makes Gunslinger more viable for PvE, which is great. So it gives people more options for stuff like that. And same with like Sentinel, not Sentinel, sorry, Striker. You get 3 slams.
I can honestly say about, you know, when it comes to all the classes from Vanilla Destiny, besides the hammer, I think I was more scared of the hammer than the blade dancer. But when people popped a blade dancer, I was like, switch to the shotgun. Okay, are you just planning on doing something with that?
Yeah.
Because you know, I will say the hammer initiation effect that shows you that the hammer's around is extremely terrifying. And if you don't know where that
first came out, oh my god, and it was unkillable. That was horrible. I will never forget the fear that would run through me every time I would hear that like clunk sound. I was like, nope, I'm gone. I'm out.
It's just you don't even have to look for him. It's like he's not in this direction. I'm running this direction.
Exactly. Nailed it. I mean, the pure terror.
Yeah. Did they nerf snipers around that time too? So it was like couldn't like one hit them or something.
You couldn't one hit kill them. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
It was horrible, and I was just like, nope.
Yeah, that's another thing that Sinister likes to complain about. He wants everything he shoots with the golden gun dies in one shot. You don't care what it is. And then, you know, when you use the unstoppable with the Titan, you have to shoot them twice because the unstoppable will keep them alive. And he's like, that's not fair, man. It should kill them with one shot. I was like, dude, you use a perk to get that shot, to get the ability to kill them out of their unstoppable. He's like, I shouldn't need that perk. I was like, you realize the Titans need a perk to live through the golden shot, right?
That is true. That is true. Yeah, he used to get so angry with that.
We used to go on for hours at Xbox Live parties talking about that.
Yeah, he's one of our Ray buddies. He's a hunter. He is a hunter loyalist. So whenever there's any nerf, there's any change, you know, and like you said, Amber, when it was the reign of the Sunbreaker during the Taken King.
Oh God.
And yeah, it was horrible. We used to hear the complaints, and he was justified in some respect.
And then some things he was just bitching about.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone's kind of complained about something, and like, in a sense, like, you know, even if it's something petty, like if it really upsets you, like, I mean, I can understand it, but when it gets to a point that it's like excessively, you know, like bitching about it, I'm kind of like, all right, it's time to like simmer down. All right. But no, I used to get so mad. Like, I'm trying to think of what exactly used to really, really like bother me. I think it was just Stormcaller in general for a really long time. The melee. It was the melee. It was definitely the melee. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, that stupid melee. Yeah. The fact that it could like map you, I would get so angry about it. And I would make angry tweets about how stupid this like 50-foot melee was. And you know, stuff like that, like I can understand because that is a little unfair. Like, I could shoot someone with a shotgun and like it only like half register and it would still kill them. And I'm like,
one of the things that would annoy me is like that glitch that used to happen with the fusion grenade, to where it would latch onto you through, like, you know, if they threw it at you and it would come to a wall and you at the same time, for some reason, it would always attach to you. And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, I'm good. I look around, I'm like, boom. I'm like, where did that come from?
Yeah, no, sticky grenades. Yeah, no thanks. No thanks. Fusion grenades, no. Absolutely not. I'm just glad that they can't one hit anymore.
Yeah, that's huge. Right, that's huge.
Yeah.
You know, with the classes all, you know, I do enjoy the new class setups. You know, I run all three, but I do main a Titan. So it's going to be interesting to see how that is. But with anything, you know, the next one it's kind of a speculation question. You know, there's no way to really know of this particular topic, but I want to know what you guys think happened to the speaker, because it's kind of weird that out of the entire tower, his section was only destroyed. Like, you know, they messed up stuff, but they destroyed his whole section.
I think he's evil. I don't trust him.
Amber, I love you.
Someone else agree with me.
Because it's awfully funny that when the Cabal show up, and, you know, like they somehow got through all their perimeters and destroyed all the satellites without raising one alarm, the speaker's missing.
Yeah.
Talk about it, Amber. I want to hear this.
So I can't fully explain why, but I have never trusted him. And I mean, I've been wrong about Eris. So I didn't trust her.
You might not be wrong about Eris. Let's keep going.
You might not be wrong with her either.
It is kind of weird that we didn't see Eris at all.
That is true. Where is Eris?
Good point.
That is a
very good point.
I mean, she might.
But yeah, no, I don't know. There's always been something kind of weird about the speaker, and Who was it exactly? There was someone that didn't trust. No, it's Eris. Eris didn't trust the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm thinking
I
about
got
it,
someone
it was
else
Eris
that don't
never
trust
trusted
him
the
either.
speaker. Yeah, I don't trust him. And so
Ironic.
it kind of the fact that he's gone and like, you know, it was just his section of the tower that was completely destroyed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, obviously, you know, the Red Legion, Gary, you know, all that, like they could have taken him. Like that could have been what
Yes.
happened. But at the same time, I'm like, no, he's evil. He has to have something to do with it. Like he's the only one. He is the only one that actually knows anything about the Traveler.
Yes.
Right.
That is true.
So that could be a reason why they took him.
A reason that
Gary, yeah.
he might not. This is complete. You know, this is probably really off topic. What happens if Gary? I'm gonna call him Gary because I can't.
I love how everyone calls him Gary now.
Okay, what happens if Dominic / Gary, aka Gary? What happens if he's not the antagonist of Destiny 2's main story? It was it was the speaker, and the speaker gave Gary the technology to seal the Traveler, because it is kind of weird that somehow this mystical force, the Cabal, all of a sudden right now they know they have a machine to shut off its light.
It's interesting. I mean, it's some interesting speculation. I think if they, I'm more of the camp with you guys. You know, I do not trust the speaker. I've never trusted the speaker. As you know, I'm a Warlock main, and as you know, I study at the School of Osiris. And every time I go to my man, Brother Vance, I kneel down and he tells me, "What if I told you your speaker was a charlatan?" And that rings true to me. So for me personally, I don't trust him.
It would be cool if whatever you know, the Osiris thing he
yeah, and that's the first DLC, which I'm
which is
really excited
cool.
about.
Yeah.
The Osiris thing, you know, you find out that he that the speaker's alive. Let's say that they don't show him back in Destiny 1, and he comes there to do some crazy shit at the tower, and you just see Osiris pop up out of the background.
Listen, I think there's a lot. We've only heard one side of the story, which was like when Osiris got expelled or whatever. He used to study under him or whatever, and now he's, you know, sent, you know, this guy, Brother Vance, is at the Reef, and the rest of it, I guess I'm assuming they're at Mercury. But I'm very curious about that. It will be interesting to see, because I'm not sure. Like, I see some screenshots online of people saying that this one person may be the speaker. That's kind of not at the, you know, all the Guardians are spread out and stuff like that. I'm very curious to see, you know, what has actually happened. I wouldn't be sad if the speaker somehow kicked the bucket.
I feel you. I'm totally on that board.
I'll be honest. It wouldn't. I wouldn't shed a tear.
I could just see you now.
Like I was
in the party with Cognito when this happened, and I kid you not, I've never heard him. The moment you know, you could tell that they kind of set you up for that, because he had his back towards the door. They were trying not to let you see too much all at once, and then he slowly rotates, and all you hear is wait, oh, it's gone. The speaker's gone.
I might have cheered.
Yeah, in my head I'm thinking, look, finally, he's gone.
No, I don't like him. I don't like him.
I'm gonna feel really bad though if he's actually not evil, but I'm like 99.9%.
He's gonna end up showing up at the end to help you fight Gary.
You can't trust a man that doesn't show his face. Like, come on.
It's true.
To be honest, Vanilla Destiny, almost no one showed you their face.
It is interesting to see what will happen, and yeah, I'm excited to see, you know, the fate of him, or the future of what happens with him. So we'll get those answers soon, hopefully.
All right,
and
so
it's awesome too, because we get more cutscenes, and there's gonna be more of a story too, which we didn't get.
And I just want to add one thing, Game Addict, before you move to the next one. I'm actually curious about more with we talked about Eris, but I'm actually curious about Shaxx, because Shaxx and Saladin obviously were pictured there, and both had integral roles in the past with defending the tower and all that stuff. So I would love to see hopefully some cutscenes with them. I mean, I love Lenny James, the guy that does Shaxx, and I know we're probably going to get him in the Crucible and stuff like that, obviously. But you know, I really want some cinematic exposition with those two characters, because Saladin actually left the temple to come help out. So it'll be cool to see, you know, the original guys help out with the Vanguard, and those guys also have roles, you know, now that the tower is destroyed, and more speaking parts, because I really love those two characters.
It would be pretty cool, like, you know, in a battle on Destiny 2, you know, Shaxx and Saladin are getting really pushed down, they're getting surrounded, and you just see out of nowhere Lord Saladin just pop up and go hammer on people and kill everyone around them.
Oh yeah.
So with that being said, we're going to move on to the next topic. And that originally this wasn't a topic. I had the PvP reamp as a topic, but we kind of destroyed that a couple topics ago. So I went ahead. I'm going to replace it with a lot of this whole parody thing. And do you guys think there is a parody with Bungie? Do you guys think that, because I don't personally think there is a parity issue with Xbox and PlayStation and PC. I don't think there is. Well, obviously not PC. PC will run whatever they want. I think what it mainly is, it's it's a consumer friendly game. It's a casual friendly game, and they don't want advantages from older hardware to these mid-gen hardware. And regardless what people say, they can Lord King David it and say I dished out that money. I don't care what people that didn't dish out that money, but that's good for a consumer standpoint. But you got to look at it from a business standpoint. They don't want to frustrate people in the Crucible so bad, because it won't make a huge significant difference, but an average player fighting like a really good player, the average player will be on more grounds with them because they have that extra 30 frames. And I do think that is a huge part of the reason why Bungie decided to keep 30 frames all through all consoles. What do you guys think?
This is my thing. So the debate is kind of like a difficult one, because I was talking to my boyfriend about this, and we had a pretty decent debate. Like, he is a PvP player. Like, that is his comfort zone. Like, that's pretty much all that he does. He's not a PvE player like I was. So I understand that having 60 frames is definitely better for PvP, but at the same time, like, Bungie was not able to run the PvE portion at 60 frames because the PlayStation couldn't handle it. Even a PlayStation Pro couldn't handle it. And they wanted to keep that seamless experience across the board. And I can understand that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people complain about going from 30 to 60 frames, and people would complain about that too. If they were to do PvP alone in 60 frames and do the PvE in 30, people would complain about going back and forth.
People would complain about everything they get their hands on.
Exactly. So they really can't win, and it sucks because, like, I don't really consider myself I don't really care that much about frame rate. I really don't. To me, a game is going to be good regardless if it's 60 or 30.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm there with you.
Bad or a bad game good.
I understand that frame rates will, make a better experience, but at the end of the day, if you're having enough enjoyment with the game, that 30 frames isn't going to really, it might help you experience it better. But if you're enjoying the game, if you enjoy Destiny 1, you have no reason to be complaining about Destiny 2 being 30 frames.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like it went from 60 to 30. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a downgrade. It's I understand why. Like, I get it. I get they want to have a seamless experience. And, PC will have 60 frames, which is fantastic. But that's because PCs can run that. You know what I mean? Like, you can outfit a PC to run whatever the hell you want. You know what I mean? So I kind of understand that. I definitely wish that 60 frames was a thing, because the more frames the better, but it doesn't bug me if it is 30. So that's why I get kind of a little annoyed when I hear people complain that it's not 60, because I'm just like,
it's like my
it's
thing
not
is
gonna make the game like it. 30,
they're acting like
30
it's making a 7 to a 10. They're literally acting like it's going to make a 7 out of 10 game. Hypothetically, let's say Destiny 2, I highly doubt it'll get a 7 out of 10, but let's say it got a 7 out of 10. They're acting like that extra 30 frames will make it a 9 or 10 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, I'm sorry, but that's just not how it works. Like, I get it. It's 2017. You want 60 frames, but it's not the end of the world. So stop acting like it's the end of the world. Like, I mean, but then again, that's coming from someone who literally has no problem adjusting. Like, I can go from League of Legends, which is 300 frames, to Destiny, which is 30, and not have a problem. Like, it doesn't bug me. Like, I don't have trouble adjusting. Other people do. My boyfriend does. He tells me all the time. He's always telling me, like, yeah, like, it sucks going from 60 to 30. And I'm just like, I don't have that problem. But I definitely understand where some people are coming from. But at the same time, we've all said this, it's not going to make a game any worse. Like, a good game is a good game regardless of the frame rate. So it's just a bonus. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna jump in, Addict. If
Oh, no, that's fine.
you good? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm torn because I hear what you guys are saying, and it's like, let's just say from the very beginning, Destiny, you play 1080p 30 frames. I personally don't have a problem with 30 frames per second. Personally, my experience on Destiny was some of the most fun I've had with with vanilla Destiny all the way through the expansions. So I really didn't have an issue. And I remember coming into it, I was concerned if it did go to 60, how would it change? So hearing that the consoles now are like 30 frames per second, it's not much of an issue. I guess what really bothered me is now that I know that the PC is doing 60 frames. So you always feel, like, okay, well, somebody else has something a little better than what you have, that kind of deal. And so when I hear about, you guys, Amber, and you guys were out there, and some of you guys, reported, hey, we saw the PC version and it looks phenomenal and stuff like that.
Beautiful.
That does resonate a little bit with me, but I think ultimately when it comes down to the consoles,
you just want that HDR, don't lie.
Oh, of course. I mean, the 4K is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I have a 4K, but my thing is, they, Bungie got in front of it. They did say, Luke Smith and those guys did say, look, the PS4 Pro is not going to do, 60. It's the constraints, the way our game is designed. I get it. My only concern is that if the Scorpio, which I intend on buying, can run it at 60, and there's a probably strong chance it could based on the specs that we've heard so far. So if it can, it would be a shame, in my opinion, for Bungie to not have that version be optimized to maximize the Scorpio. So, obviously I'm an Xbox main, that's my preference, system of preference. So, and I get that, Sony, they got the exclusivity deal, they paid for the marketing, they reap the rewards of that. That's to them. I've never had a Jade Rabbit. I've never had a Zen Meteor. I've done my crying in the past. I have accepted it. But what would be nice is just like, okay, Sony has the exclusive marketing, they have the exclusive content. If we as an Xbox fan base can just get a maximized version of the game, and if it can kind of mimic the PC, one would hope Bungie doesn't put a lid on that because
see, this was my only thing, because like we were talking about this as well, because where Destiny 2 is actually going to be through like Battle.net, because Activision and Blizzard,
I made a lot of people mad over that,
if I'm not wrong, or they're owned by the same company, so it makes sense for them to have that, to have it there, and I think that's why they allowed it.
Yes.
I mean, there's no reason why they wouldn't allow it to be uncapped, but I'm kind of iffy though, because where Sony does have the exclusive rights, whether or not they would give Xbox that boost.
And you can't,
it makes sense
even if it's Sony,
it's a partnership with Activision, right? So I'm not sure about the whole Xbox thing. I think it would be cool, but I just don't know if that's if that would actually happen, just because of the way
based on the nature of the deal. I mean, because again, the language could state that the Sony version has to have parity across all consoles, maybe because PC is a whole different beast, so they can't control that. But it will be interesting to see how that happens. But I agree. It's gonna be interesting to see once the Scorpio comes out. And maybe even if, let's just say, for example, I would be fine with this. Like, let's just say it's 4K 30, right? And it mimics PS4 Pro. I'm okay with that. And as long as they say we plan on making a patch down the road, you know what I mean? To kind of optimize it for the Scorpio, that would be amazing to me. Now, will it happen? Because of the marketing, because of the relationship? Who knows, But,
definitely got a comment that says not having dedicated servers bugs me more than 30 frames.
I can agree with that.
Completely agree.
That is something I can definitely agree with, and that was something again I was talking about. I was talking with my boyfriend about, and a couple other people. Like, I'm okay with having a lower frame rate. I'm okay with that. The game looks beautiful. It runs beautifully. But the fact that we don't have dedicated servers after pushing, like, our community has pushed that for so long. And I get it, like, dedicated servers are very expensive, like incredibly expensive, and they're incredibly difficult to, as far as I know, they're incredibly difficult to
maintain.
Can I cut you one question? I just want to interrupt one question because you're nailing a point that I want to get to with the dedicated server. It just, we know they're expensive, right? But remember when the April update and all that stuff was coming out and they were giving us free content, and they would say like the microtransactions are supposed to go to the betterment of the game. So it's just like, why don't we have dedicated servers?
And see, but the thing is, like, it's not necessarily like Destiny 2 has its own budget, and yeah, like us like buying microtransactions, and God knows I spent a lot of microtransactions, and I don't know if anyone has ever like seen this stream, but Triple Rex spent like $500 on these treasures to try to get like gear with God rolls, and I'm just like, man, like you just funded Destiny 2.
You seem the kind of person that like if that hot emote comes out, you gotta have it.
Oh, that's great.
Sure. Exactly. And like this is the thing, a lot of people, lag has been a huge issue within the Crucible for a very long time, and a lot of it is because I don't know if anyone remembers, but during the beta and during, you know, the majority of vanilla Destiny, before they changed the matchmaking algorithm, for lack of a better word, I don't know if that's the right word, but the settings for matchmaking, it was good. It was connection based. So you were constantly being matched with people who were in your vicinity, people who weren't lagging their asses off, you know, and it was good. There was rarely any issue of lag. People complained about getting pub stomped, and I get that sucks, especially because I was horrible. I think I held like a 0.13 KD in year one. Like that's how bad I was. But like the matchmaking settings then were good. You rarely experienced lag. Obviously, you're not going to never experience it, even with a dedicated server. You're always going to get lag. But, you know, it's something that should have still been considered because, like I said, nothing's going to eliminate lag permanently. But if they had dedicated servers and they had, you know, changed their matchmaking settings to connection-based, that would make all the difference in the world. And like I said, dedicated servers are expensive to maintain, to get, to implement, all that stuff. Like I get it, super expensive. And honestly, I don't think, you know, the microtransactions that we had put like live events into the game helped maintain, you know, what we had left. And we don't know, you know, if any of that money went into Destiny 2. I'm sure it did. Right. But I mean, there's a lot to consider that went into it, you know, not just, you know, dedicated servers and stuff like that. Like games are not easy to make. So
well, absolutely.
Considering like all the stuff that went into it, like SRL, like the free like content updates, the sandbox changes, like that's stuff that takes time and money, and you know, you have to consider that as well. So but yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Like I said, I agree. I think that if it came down to it between the FPS versus the dedicated servers, I definitely would choose, you know, dedicated servers over that. Yeah,
because that could really make a difference between, you know, that's a noticeable difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not that, you know, frame rate isn't. That will make a difference, but I feel like, you know, dedicated servers is definitely something that's worth the investment in the long run.
Agreed.
Yeah, definitely. We did have someone in the comment section says dedicated servers isn't the correct approach. Religion-based servers is what the franchise needs.
When you're talking about regional instead, yeah. I mean, those are cool. I mean, it definitely helps. It's you know, you get matched closer to people in your vicinity and stuff like that. But again, I just think, you know, after playing games like Titanfall and, you know, Halo 5 and things like that, I mean, it's really a difference, you know, when you have dedicated servers. And again, I mean, hey, if they did regional, I'm not going to be mad. I mean, that definitely helps. All these things, I just kind of look at it sometimes as a half measure, as opposed to having, you know, a robust, you know, kind of a setup. And it's just one of those things I just hope Activision as a whole does, because, you know, they have Call of Duty, you know, they have Destiny under their banner. I'm not sure about Overwatch. So I need to find out, do some research on that. I was under the impression Overwatch may have it, but that may be under the Blizzard banner. So, you know, which is still a sister company, but it would be nice to just see Activision kind of get ahead of that and just say, you know what, we have these huge games, these huge franchises, you know, this is something, you know, I mean, because for the most part, let's be honest, like Bungie really knocked it out of park. Because I don't want to come off on a complaint fest as far as like,
matchmaking and all these cool features that as Destiny players we've been wanting, right? And they've been knocking it out of the park at the reveal. So it was a little disheartening when I saw like the Fireteam chat guys ask, Mark Noseworthy and Luke Smith, would there be dedicated servers? And it was just kind of like this awkward, unhealthy pause.
They were just like, we were dreading this moment, but they knew it was coming.
Yeah. So it was a little disheartening. So I just, for the future Activision, I just hope,
it's just, I think what the Destiny community wants is they want to know you're taking their favorite franchise seriously. And, for the most part they are, I do feel like they, from the first one to the second one, they're like, yo, Destiny's got a lot of potential. Because no one knew what Destiny was going to turn out to when it launched. And I think Activision sees this as like on the same level as COD now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to, we only got 2 more topics left. This one's going to be pretty quick, but PC, you guys stay on consoles, you going to PC? And if so, when do you think this PC port's coming out?
I'm actually going to be PlayStation and PC. I'm thinking that PC launch is probably going to be a month after. I don't think it's going to be a huge delay, but I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say that I'm glad that there is a delay. I know a lot of people are upset, but I would rather them put out a good port versus a bad one. And I would rather them take their time to make it good. I mean, from what I saw, at the event, like it looked phenomenal. It played beautifully, but obviously that's just a snippet of the full game. So
controlled environment.
Exactly. It's a controlled environment. So it's obviously nowhere near launch ready. But I would rather them take their time to put out a good port. And I'm totally willing to wait for that. So it could be a month, it could be 2 months. As long as it is a good port, I am fine with that.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's probably going to be. I'm obviously I main on Xbox, and a lot of my clan, obviously Gaming X part of it, Shadowfox clan and all those guys. We're probably going to still do it. I'm going to do the what you call it, the Scorpio, obviously when it comes out. I will admit, PC is very tempting. When I'm seeing those stats, I'm like, wow, unshackled frame rate, and this, that, and the other. It's just, me primarily, my gaming history has always been console. So I can't see myself ever kind of switching over to like a mouse and keyboard setup. Shout out to Mason Shaw, and he kind of said the same thing. One of his vids. It's just that's just my nature. It's just what I was ingrained with. It's no disrespect to the PC community at all. I get it. Those guys want the premium experience and they love that, mouse and keyboard with a first person shooter, but I'll be elite controlling it with the Xbox One and the hopefully the Scorpio version. And then as far as your second question as to when I think the PC version would come out, I'm starting to think it may. I'm in agreement with Amber that I don't mind that it's delayed. Not that I'm, don't want a community to get a game, but I'm in the mindset that I agree with her in the sense that optimize it, make sure it's the best possible version, and them aligning with BattleNet is good. Also from the from the standpoint of trying to get cheaters out and stuff like that. So I don't mind that, Activision doing that. And I guess I'm gonna guess. I still say it should come out this year. I know a lot of my friends say definitely next year. I'm gonna say maybe November, December. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe.
I'm just gonna throw that out there. Obviously, I'm not going to PC. Like it's not even a process thought. But if I were to put a date on it, because it takes a lot. They have to speculate when it comes to making PCs to what hardware you're running. If you're doing NVIDIA, if you're doing AMD, they gotta take a lot of considerations. They got multiple options on there, so it takes a lot longer to do that. I think the port would be ready by November, December, but I don't think they want to drop that in the middle of Call of Duty, Red Dead Redemption. So regardless if it's a game that's being re-released, they don't want PC. On the PC market, it's a lot more variety of stuff to compete with. So I think that will end up dropping this January or late January, early February.
Oh wow! So you have this next year.
See, that's the thing though. I don't think it would be that late because with PC, like a lot of games come out, but where I'm just trying to explain this the best way that I can.
So the way that they have
if it was delayed that much though, they would have said.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's not even really delaying it. When people ask, they asked him.
Yeah, they haven't committed to a hard and fast date.
They asked him, well, when do you think we'd see it? And he would never, he can't give any kind of speculation to when he would be coming out, but he didn't seem like it was going to be anytime soon. Like, I feel like if it was coming out, maybe a month after Destiny, he would say something like, we're in the process, it'll more to be shown, but they dodged the question a couple of times, and when they finally got them to answer it, they said, we have nothing at this time. And to me, that feels like, it's being in process, but it's not done yet.
I feel like the reason why, though, they were dodging that question so hard is because people, especially in our community, are so quick to speculate and are so quick to, sorry, I just got totally distracted. But yeah, no, like, people in our community are so quick to jump to a conclusion and speculate, and I don't think they have a definitive date yet, and I think that's another reason why they didn't want to say anything, because it could be a month, it could be 2 months, it could be 3 months. Like, they don't know, we don't know, right? So they probably want to avoid that question like the plague. You know what I mean? Because they don't want to give people false hope of, it'll only be a month, when anything can happen down the road, and it could be like, it's pushed back 3 months. You know what I mean? So I kind of understand why they were dodging that question as hard as they were. Because I would do the same thing if I were in their, in their shoes, because so many people, like so many big streamers, like, Lyric, Tim the Tatman, people like that, like Ninja, like he was there. I was a puss, and I bumped into him, and I was too scared to say hi. But like, they are so excited for the PC version that, like, they know that there's such a huge market for it, and there's so many people excited for it that I don't think they want to just drop like, it should be ready around this date if it gets pushed back. You know what I mean? Because that would get a lot more people disappointed, because people were already expressing disappointment in the fact that it could be, pushed back a little bit. But
I think people got a little bit more upset that it wouldn't come out on Steam, though.
Actually, yeah, I mean, I'm of that mindset. You under promise, over deliver. So I'm not upset with them. At least they didn't say a date. They say they're working on it. They say their reasons why. And I rather them put out the best version of said product. I'm always of the mindset of either a game being delayed in a way is a good thing. I rather the best possible version comes out, as opposed to it being rushed, broken at launch, problems, and then that just really fractures the base and people get all disheartened and stuff. So I'm always kind of
product broken on launch can completely damage the product for the rest of its lifespan.
Exactly.
Completely fractured that relationship with the community. So let them take their time. Let Bungie take their time, do what they have to do, make the necessary tweaks, optimize it as best they can, and I'm all for that. So we'll see. Hopefully, they do the right thing with that as well.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get to the last topic. With this topic, it's no secret that with Destiny, they had a hard time keeping up with the demand that the fans wanted in terms of content. And what I wanted to ask is, do you think they have a fix to this in Destiny 2? They've really put thought process to it, and because I do believe that they did say that there will be more consistent content in Destiny 2. Or do you think that last gen that they gave a significant amount of content, it's just fans were being impatient, which I think for the most part, I do think it's a mixture of both, because I do think we were we were impatient last Destiny. Like we were.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
And with the thoughts on that, with the first and second expansion, the Osiris and the Rasputin, do you think we'll get stuff like this consistently, or do you think after these first two expansions they'll go back to that the October one, the October events, and the Christmas events?
Yeah. Like, this is the thing. So people I definitely think it's a mix of both as well. They did give us a decent amount of content. But things were they got very dry very quickly. And that is because, there wasn't a lot of content, but it definitely wasn't like a drought of content. People tend to blow through it pretty fast, especially if they're streamers, which is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's how you choose to play a game, by all means, do it. Like, if you enjoy blowing through the content and getting all your weapons, in the first week, like that is absolutely your prerogative. Like, that is totally your choice. And if that's how you choose to play, by all means. But I definitely think that Destiny 2, I would hope that there would be more content, and I would hope that it's not as much of a dry, like, it's not much of a dry patch as it's kind of been in Destiny 1, but I feel like Destiny 1, they were really limited on what they could do, especially because of last gen console.
Yes, completely agree.
Yeah, I definitely think that for Destiny 2 that they've kind of picked that up and have a bunch of stuff in store for us.
You can clearly tell that they were limited because they were having to do minor stuff like not show comparison on last gen if you're looking in your vault. Like, when you're going to the extent to that to increase your vault, then you know that they're really stretching out the last gen consoles.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. And like, even if you look at the Touch of Malice, like it didn't even do the animation. Like, that's really sad. When I found that out, I had no clue. When I found that out, I was like, oh my god.
I didn't even know that. Wow.
Yep, the spinny.
It just shows like a green shape, and that's all.
Yeah, it's literally static? It's just like it doesn't move. Yeah, there's no animation.
Wow, I did not know that. I've
never actually seen it, so I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure someone has told me that before. I'm like 90. You know what? I'm gonna YouTube that actually, because now I am curious. I'm like, I'm pretty sure though, because I'm pretty sure I've seen it. And it's just little things like that kind of make you think like, wow, like they really were pushing last gen. To get stuff in there.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely.
I agree. I mean, if I could jump in, Addict.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think it was just one of those things where it's like, I remember having this argument with Kaibatsu, and he was just like, it's so frustrating, with stuff like that with the UI. And I would say the same thing, Amber said, which is that, they are restricted and held back by past gen. So that was the first step in ditching. And let's be honest, it was a little bit of a spaghetti code going on there as a tech. I know things were actually easy for them. I really sympathize with them because I knew it couldn't be easy to make. I remember when, the big uproar was vault space. And I'm like, I get it. Don't think that they don't know this. Don't think that they don't want to make these changes. But when you have a game designed the way it is and you make those changes, it could break and other things. And as we've seen, when they made the what was that patch that broke the Blade Dancer's Hungering Blade, and everything is related, and a lot of that.
Remember the Infinity Hammers and the Infinity Arrows?
Oh my god! Oh, that was horrible.
Exactly.
I will never forget that.
We went. Completely went through those errors.
Is it sad that me and Sinister did the Infinity Night Stalker arrows just one time in trials just to troll because we had it happen to us once, and we found out how to do it, and it's like, dude, like we got to do it one time.
I felt so bad. I learned about it when I was doing a Vault of Glass run, and they were like, yeah, like try it. And I was just like, okay, I'll try it on like a Minotaur or whatever. And I did. I felt so bad. Like, obviously it's not against people, so like I shouldn't feel bad, but I was just like, oh my god, like I suck. Like, why am I doing this? And then I never did it again. But I can say that I've used it, just never in PvP because I don't have the heart. I've had it happen to me though. I
had it happen one time in Iron Banner. The first day it happened in Iron Banner. It was very, very frustrating.
Yeah,
oh god,
it was brutal. It was brutal out there. But yeah, to my point, with your question as far as the stream of content. I mean, it's one of those things. I remember. Was it the new CEO, Pete Parsons, that jumped in? That was one of his kind of mission statements. He actually said that, their goal is to have, less droughts and produce steady content. And if you watch the gameplay, reveal for Destiny 2, one of the things they stressed was always having things to do. So I'm a little confident. Obviously it's marketing speak, but I think they're aware of it. I think they know that we basically fiend for content. We already kind of have an outline already with when the other two DLCs are coming. I was going to be curious to see how they handle the spaces between DLC, and like Amber said, there's going to be streamers, there's going to be people who absolutely blaze through the content. That's going to happen. The question would be, the engagement level from Bungie, and curiously, actually, the live team is what I'm concerned about because as much as they did try, Rise of Iron, I believe, was the placeholder for Destiny 2 before Destiny 2 actually came out. And they did a solid job. I felt the raid was fun. Was it the best DLC? Was it better than Taken King? No, but I felt it was solid, but it was also done by a smaller, a team. So now I want to see if they have that in place, like a bigger live team, so that when we're between DLCs, there's more things to do, because honestly, stuff like Crimson Days is not going to do it for me.
I loved Crimson Days. Like, I'm not going to lie, when they said that they were not bringing it back, my heart broke a little bit because I loved it.
I'm with you on the mechanic. I play with Lord Swap. It's a fun mode. Don't get me wrong. I just wanted more content with said mode. That's all. That's
understandable.
Yeah, the game mode is fun. Like, remember, you used to like one person dies and they get enraged, and like it was hot. Like I
like the only way I ever stood a chance. I'm not gonna lie. I played with my ex-boyfriend. I'm just like, everyone we would match against would be super sweaty, and so the only time I would ever stand a chance is if he died and I got that that buff. If he's alive just long enough to grab him again, though.
Oh yeah, it made 2v2 so fun. And don't get me wrong, I was a little sad that it didn't come back, in some form. I thought they would bring it back in some form, but like I said, as long as we get like meaty things, kind of like vanilla. Remember, we got the Queen's Wrath event.
I would love to see Queen event again as well. I love, and if anyone knows me, I love the Queen. Like, I have a Queen tattoo. Like, I am a Queen loyalist. Like, if they give us like a faction for her in Destiny 2, I'm gonna lose my marbles. Like, I will lose it.
I always thought it would be cool. I just go ahead and say this real quick, is to have like a Queen's version of Iron Banner, like Queen's Wrath or something, and then like once a year have Iron Banner versus Queen's Wrath. Like, you have to sign up for one of them.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, man, they got a lot of potential. I could see a lot of fun.
There's a lot they could do with it. Absolutely.
So, like I said, I'm coming in pretty optimistic in reference to your question. That I think they've learned from the mistakes. They know what the community wants. We definitely want consistent content, between DLC releases and stuff like that. And honestly, what I want personally is I actually love when, not that the meta has to change all the time, but I actually like when they do the tweaks and, hey, we realize that, this might be broken and we're going to fix this or tweak that, as far as the Crucible aspect. I used to get excited when I see patch notes. So for me personally, if they do that, and last point, exotic armor tweaking. That's what I personally want, because I always felt the weapons always got buffed and nerfed, to the ground. We had all different range. We had the Thorn meta, we had the 1,000-yard stare meta. We've had all different metas. But what I want personally is there was some, like, as a warlock, there was some exotics that were just so useless, and they never got a tweak. They never got, and for your hunters, there was some exotics that I'm like, okay, if they just made a little buff here to give it a different property, it could be so much better. So I really want them to look at exotics armor, particularly, They can get into that
like
with
the Alchemist Raiment, which was looked awesome, but it was just like there was no point in using it over anything else.
No functionality. I mean, Warlock's got some of the coolest things. Good, I'm sorry.
And that's what sucked. So I totally agree with that. Like, if they were to look at exotic armor and like things like that, definitely.
Agreed.
Make it a lot better for because there was some like hunter gear that wasn't that great. A lot of people made fun of me for using the what's it called?
One?
Oh, it's a helmet and crap, hold on. Skyburner's Annex. That's it. People would make fun of me for Skyburner's Annex, but really good helmet to run for like King's Fall and for things like that. And people would always make fun of me, and I'm just like, yeah, well, when my shield's regenerating and I'm getting special ammo, you're gonna be laughing. So things like that, you know what I mean? Like, I would never run out of sniper ammo when I was doing ogres, and so that would help me a lot. But yeah, like things like that to me was kind of like an underrated exotic. It doesn't seem like on paper like the most like fantastic exotic ever, but at the same time, like, it's pretty helpful. But like there are some that don't don't look fantastic on paper and really aren't fantastic in reality. So things like that. I totally agree that they should touch more on like armor and stuff like that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So
Astro Sight first.
Yes.
Well, my personal feeling on this is, you know, you could clearly tell that towards the end of Destiny, they were getting better at it. They were getting more, you know, more consistent, because I do feel like Destiny caught them off guard. I don't think they felt like the community was going to be as enraged as they were. They're going to be so vocal, because they always make fun of the community for doing that. It's like, trust me, we know you'll tell us.
Yeah, exactly. Reddit.
So, you know, I do expect, you know, a pretty not you know, I expect more than we got from Destiny 1, but not so much more to be. I have to keep a realistic expectation to what kind of content we're going to get. So, absolutely. You know, I have a couple questions in the comment sections, not too many. You know, blow through these real quick. So, someone wants to know, I guess this will be to me and Cognito, because Amber doesn't have an Xbox. Is it worth to buy Destiny 2 on Xbox, but there being a parity between PS4? Yes. What do you think?
I mean, to me, the answer is go where your friends are, because Destiny to me is fun play with friends, and now with the matchmaking that with guided games that they're making it easy for everyone. So if you're already on Xbox, I mean, unless, like I said, you know, the exotic thing really pushes you over, and I get it. For some people, they say, hey, you know, I really want all the content, you know. So from a Sony standpoint, I get it. If you want the premium experience as far as content, go for it. But ultimately, just to me, Destiny is the ultimate game with friends. I've made so many great relationships that way, and if your friends are still on that platform, stick with your platform.
Definitely. So this next one, with this being a looter shooter, you know, I'm quoting here. Has anything changed with the loot? I guess he's referring to you, Amber. But here's the thing. I don't think she would have necessarily known anything like that, because I don't think any loot or anything drops like that.
No.
So, but like, I would assume that they have tweaked how, because if you notice from beginning of vanilla Destiny to the end, the loot systems are two entirely different beings.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that will be changing. And, you know, he did bring up, you know, we need serious loot, but this looks like Destiny 1.5. I almost didn't read your comment because of that last part, but I gave you your
See, question. This is the thing. It essentially is Destiny 1.5. Like, Destiny 1 was Destiny Beta. Like, it's a sequel. It's going to look exactly like the first one. They are building a sequel on top of a pre-existing game. So, of course, it's going to look the same. And, you know, I have seen that comment so many times. And it kind of gets but you know.
BK Bed, you know, he comes from the podcast. You know, he doesn't mean no harm by it, because, you know.
No, absolutely.
But if you say 1.5 and you're meaty, like, you know, it's like I was saying to Lord Cognito, it's like, look, you can say 1.5 about anything. Every Call of Duty is 1.5. The Shadow of War that's coming out is Shadow of Mordor 1.5. It's like every sequel is going to have a lot of aspects from its predecessor.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to be hard pressed to find. And, you know, it's not to say that, you know, there's not there's not sequels out there that look nothing like their predecessor, but you're going to be pretty hard pressed to find one that isn't. You know, Destiny is building on a pre-existing game, a world that we already know, characters we already know. There's not much they can change, because if they change it, it's not going to look like a Destiny game, and then it's not going to be Destiny anymore, and people will complain about that too. So people have to keep in mind that, yes, Destiny 2 is a sequel, so it is going to share a lot of resemblance to Destiny 1. And that's something you got to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
And, you know, you can ask Lord Cognito. That's always been my number one concern. It's like, are they going to try to appeal to more of an MMO market, and I lose all the aspects I liked about Destiny?
Yeah.
But, you know, it seems that they took with the good parts of first one, and they're going to expand on it. I saw the UIs have all changed. You know, when it comes to attention to detail, all that's been updated. You know, does the game look drastically different from its predecessor? No, but there is enough little details in there that makes it look different.
Mm-hmm. So it makes it look different, but it still plays pretty similar, and it definitely still feels like Destiny game, which is important with a sequel. You don't want a sequel that doesn't feel like...
You'll end up isolating your original fans, and then the newer fans that you wanted to bring in won't adapt to it as much as you thought they would, and you end up killing an entire franchise by trying to be too different.
Exactly.
So that's the show, you guys. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for my guest. Amber, where can these people catch you at? I think it's just Twitter, really. So.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I'm on Twitter a lot. I tweet a little bit too much. So
I put all.
I'm very vocal on there.
Yeah, definitely. Nice. And thank you for Lord Cognito for coming on. He's the host of Iron Lords podcast. Definitely go and subscribe to that. I'm the co-host. We have it every Sunday at 1 p.m. Cognito, where can they find you at besides Iron Lords podcast?
Yeah, besides Iron Lords podcast at 1 p.m. Sundays. You can catch me on Twitter at Lord Cognito. On Xbox, I am just Cognito. And Switch, I have that, but I'm not giving anybody that social security number they call a friend code. But those are the primary platforms I'm playing right now. And like I said, give us a shout. And always a pleasure to be on the spotlight with my man Gaming Addict. It's always fun to talk Destiny, and with Amber, that's awesome. She got a chance to play my favorite game. I was so hyped.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. When I told Cognito, I was a little jealous. I was like, how is this chick someone that, don't even do Destiny content a whole lot?
I never expected myself to get invited. When I saw people were getting invited, I was like, that's cool. But then I woke up one morning at 5 o'clock in the morning from a message from Justin, who's he's a social media guy for Activision. He's like, what's your email? I'm going to send you an invite. And I was like,
nice.
Excuse me?
Nice.
And I was
nice.
like, and I don't care what I have to do. I'm going.
Yeah.
You go.
Clearly, there at the beginning, you didn't know if you was going to be able to go on that. I felt for you. I really did. I was like, man, if anyone deserves to go, it is Amber. I might love the brand. I might, really, play it a lot. But Amber's out there showing she loves the brand. I think one time she said, back when she had an Xbox, she had 80-some thousand tweets. She's like, if you would categorize them, it'd be 40% Destiny and 60% Starbucks. And for some reason, I've never forgot that phrase.
Yep, you're not wrong. You are absolutely not wrong. It's been a crazy ride. Never in a million years when this game launched.
Well, that's cool that they
be here. So.
Yeah, that's cool that they acknowledge your passion for the game.
Yeah, it's a big thing just to be like, yo, you're not going to get a whole lot of coverage from besides Twitter, but we want you here.
Yeah. No, it was really cool. And the fact that I was able to Periscope for people and take pictures and, answer questions that people had, it was a really cool experience for me because this is a game that I love and I care about. And it was just a surreal experience. And it's something I wish more people could have had for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I'm definitely going to wrap this up. In the descriptions, all there, Amber's Twitter, go follow her on Twitter. Cognito, definitely go, the YouTube things, the Iron Lords podcast, follow him on Twitter. Thank you guys for watching. It's been a great show, and we'll see you next time on the Addict Spotlight. There will be an Addict show tomorrow on the Sony E3 press conference predictions. Definitely check that out. But until next time.